As for Fire Emblem, I made this stupid doc sheet that has stuff on it. Greek and Roman theme, along with direct connectivity to Fire Emblem Heroes. Some new sort of mechanic, like movement-based mechanic that could be featured. But I mainly talked about the environment and how that affects everything. So like, suppose like there's wind and then there's a wind direction. So stuff like archers can get like longer range or better accuracy if the wind is favoring the direction that they're firing, as opposed to if the wind is not favoring them. They'll be stuck with 1-2 range instead of like 1 to 4. That's what I want. I want Shadows of Valencia archers back, but not always. So like if the wind doesn't favor them, then they're like the old archers where they can't attack in short range, and they can only attack at a certain distance. Like they're just a 2-tile class. They can't attack 1-2, but if the wind is favoring them, they can attack 1-4, and their strength stays the same. I don't know. That'd be cool. And also I talked about day-night cycle, like just extending the battlefield and the things they can do there, like Sol and Luna being affected by the day-night cycle, where like stuff like Sol procs more in the morning and less at night, and vice versa for Luna. Or maybe Sol is strengthened, like it's 50% of your health instead of like 30% of your health, versus Luna could be like 50% armor penetration versus 30% armor penetration, stuff like that. I don't know. And then I said some sort of okay, guaranteed pair up isn't in there because it's a new generation, but we've already had rescue shove pair up. So what else could we get? I don't really know. I think weapon triangle is gonna go back to the way it was pre-Fates. Awakening just made too much sense. Like, it was so simple there, and the extra complexity didn't need to be there, and it wasn't added in Awakening. I actually felt like that's where the weapon triangle should be. But I would increase the buffs and decrease the increase the buffs and nerfs by another 5% or so, because the weapon triangle did feel like you could still like tank X users as a lance enemy early game. Like Sully could still tank most of the Axe guys, which doesn't feel right. I said map design isn't gonna change. I can almost guarantee it, where with the new Switch, they're gonna be focused more on making it looking good than making it play amazingly. Like the Awakening Volver, I don't know his name. I can only think about that because I'm playing Awakening right now, but even in Fates, like Conquest was pretty boring when you compare it to Birthright. But they're both focused on map design, pretty good. But like, oh yeah, and Revelations just was everything about making stuff look good and gimmicky and having the gameplay be different. I can see the same shit happening here. Characters, they're never gonna change archetypes. I think characters are gonna stay the same. Like, we're still gonna see the Christmas Knights, we're still gonna see the Jagans, we're still gonna, maybe Oiface, I don't know, get Oiface to be a return. You're still gonna see the endgame, jacked up Athos. I don't know. See, that was the archetypes felt like a thing that was missing from Fates and Awakening, even though it was there. Like Longku, Rinka, Tsubaki, all those guys still fit under the archetypes, but it is just weirder. Conquest was Conquest was fun because the archetypes weren't like that prevalent as compared to Birthright, where we had the ninjas as the Christmas Knights, or like the Christmas characters, and then we had all the classic, like the slow, hard-hitting Axe Knight right away. We had the Archer right away. We had the like one healer early, and then another healer coming in a little bit after that. Male-female healer. It felt a lot more archetypal than Conquest, and I think I actually liked birthright more than conquest in that terms. I kind of like how we can have the classic experience, but it looking new and you not being able to realize that it is the classic archetypes because everything looks so different. Like, I'm sure when anybody saw Orochi, they didn't think of the classic mage that you get, or when they saw the Christmas ninjas, they didn't think about the Christmas archetype. If that birthright felt good to me, I think we need to continue in that sort of side. That like that path as compared to Conquest, where Conquest just shook everything up. Conquest is a good like once per generation thing. Like after this first FE16 gets played, FE17 guaranteed remake. After FE17, if you get an FE18 on the Switch, I can see that being more of a Conquest game, Conquest type game. But FE16, it's guaranteed to be a safer approach to everything. I don't know, and I guess that's it. Oh yeah, fuck this entire old fan, new fan divide. I don't think that exists. Like, when Intelligent Systems or Nintendo is looking at the Fire Emblem community, they're not thinking about the vocal minority that is like the Fire Emblem subreddit or Seren's Forest forums or like the people complaining about things. Those are such a marginally small part of the community that if they don't satisfy them, Nintendo still makes bank. This like old fan, new fan bullshit, I don't think any of that really matters. All that exists now is the new fans. Even the old fans, they're not like, there's people don't exist that just play FB4 every single day and only play that. They still probably have played Awakening or Fates and can still see that as a Fire Emblem game. It's not like they're just gonna reject FE16. Maybe they won't buy a Switch for it. Maybe that's what Intelligent Systems and Nintendo want. But that's where the Fire Emblem Heroes connectivity comes in, where they're like, they want to encourage people that play Fire Emblem Heroes to get FE16, and that's why they would give bonuses or direct connections to it, where maybe you have like a cutscene or like a small map or like a small chapter that you can play if you unlock certain characters. Like, suppose if I have Sigurd and I connect that to my FE16, maybe it'll give me a little story bit or like something that we've never heard before about the character. And that can kind of fit in with the Fire Emblem Memories shit we've been seeing. That would fit with that. Yeah, and I don't know, I think that's it. Yeah, okay. The divide doesn't exist. Intelligent Systems clearly sees that the, like, Shadows of Valentia, it not selling as good as it did before, makes clear sense, as if it did sell strongly both in Japan and America at a solid rate the entire time. It would give confirmation to them that people do care about the old games. But you have to realize that such a big part of the sales are people that just see this new game that's coming out, or they've played Awakening and they're like, oh, this looks cool, I played a game in the Fire Emblem series before, let me pick this up. And there's people that have played Awakening once, that's all they care about, see that there's no child mechanics, or see there's like none of this old stuff that existed before. Like, Shadows of Valentia is such a departure from Awakening that I'm pretty sure the people that did still buy the game are just like the random people that nobody thinks about, like the dude that walks into an EB Games and says, oh, that game looks pretty fucking cool. Wow, it has a really good cover art. I think I should pick this game up. Like, these fucking randies, I'm pretty sure that's a majority of the game sales that are happening for Shadows of Valentia. I think if they want to bring all the fans back, they need to go back and foster towards the Awakening crowd. And that's their best hope of selling FE16 good. And if FE16 sells good, then we can get another remake afterwards. So I think for now, I actually do want an Awakening style game so I can get better games in the future. I'm fine waiting another 5 years for it. Yeah, I think that's everything. I think I talked about everything. Yeah. Yeah, I should work on my fucking performance task. That's 5% of my grade, but I'm here ranting about Fire Emblem. That's